fount of happiness. We are still in spring, but the California sun feels already warm. Early in the morning, when the sun is yet to rise, the mountain range in the distance is often bathed in morning fog. But comes the middle of the day and it feels like summer has returned. A few weeks ago, the two Vietnamese Mai trees in the garden still displayed their bright yellow flowers. The flowers have now started to fade, turned white, but still refused to drop. The wind blows hard around the Master's meditation hall as it stands at the top of the hill. The pepper tree's leaves dance in the distance, but the yellow Mai flowers remain on their branches. The white and pink prunus flowers have now all faded, and young green leaves have emerged to welcome summer. We are now in May. 26 centuries ago, on a spring day, the Buddha came into the world. He attained the immobile mind on a spring night and realized the ultimate truths that govern worldly and human life. As dawn broke on that day, he became, at the age of 35, a fully enlightened being, a Buddha amongst all Buddhas across space and time. Then, on another full moon night in spring, he entered nirvana at the age of 80. Because of these events, nowadays Buddhists across the world choose the full moon of the month of Vesak to commemorate and celebrate the life of the Buddha. The Vesak month is the fourth month in the ancient Hindu calendar and equates to our modern month of May. The Buddha was not a deity. He was a human being like all of us, and yet has been honored by Buddhists as a supreme being over the last 26 centuries. Why is this so? What did he do? What did he say in those short 80 years of life to warrant such devotion? The Buddha left his contemporaries and later generations the treasure of his wisdom that has been written down in Pali and Sanskrit in the two Tipitaka collections that are the foundation texts of the two largest schools of Buddhism, the Theravada or Southern School, and the later developmental Buddhism or Northern School. The treasure of wisdom has been solemnly preserved and carefully transmitted from generation to generation, bestowed by each Buddhist patriarch to a single officially anointed student heir. At the time, the Tripitaka was already established, and therefore the teaching was well known and publicly available. However, the heir was a student who had experienced the teaching within him or herself, and was responsible for transmitting this inner knowledge to the next generation. The transmission from teacher to heir is a special tradition of Indian Zen Buddhism for over 1,000 years, from the first patriarch, Mahakassapa, in the 5th century BC, to Bodhidharma, the 28th patriarch, in the 6th century AD. This tradition was upheld when Bodhidharma traveled to China and settled there and continued until Huang Nang, the 6th patriarch of Chinese Zen Buddhism in the 7th century AD. Huang Nang decided not to have an heir, as he had many students who had attained enlightenment. For 12 centuries following the passing of the Buddha, the Indian and Chinese Zen Buddhism traditions have flowed on uninterrupted, although they were at times modest and tenuous. Despite the vagaries of human history, this tradition of wisdom has adapted to changes and quietly progressed, bringing peace and happiness to the people it touched. Like a clear and fresh mountain stream that flows over rocks and gravels, it continues to bring peace and happiness to people. Today, when Buddhists around the world commemorate the gift of the Buddha to humanity, let us recollect together the clear drops of wisdom that flow from the font of wisdom of the Enlightened One. We are fellow travelers on the spiritual path, a path that leads us to our old home, a place of safe refuge, a place where sorrow, suffering, aging, sickness, and death are absent. This place is also our fount of happiness. I hope that this coming series of articles will be like fresh drops of mountain stream water that I offer to my dear meditation friends with whom I share the bonds of causal conditions. Masters Hall, May 10th, 2021.